Hey everybody, this is Bernadette, back in the studio in Barcelona. I'm actually just back from Sweden, and I'll tell you all about that in just a minute in this podcast. I was there for a promotion job. I was part of a media team of a great new car brand going on the European market. So that was a great time. I will tell you a little bit more later, and have a great interview with Spiros Fotinos. And he is the Chief Executive Officer from ZEEKR Europe. So stay tuned for an interview with him later in this podcast. Now, for now, I'm actually hoping that you all enjoy your summer and having that, laid back time that you can just, get your energy back to be back on the job in September. But I hope you have the time to listen to this podcast anyway. Let me tell you a little bit about EuropeanLife, what we're doing. For us, it's actually a, busy time because we are working on our magazine coming on the market, I think the end of September. So that means that we have to work very hard for the brands, and the greatest brands, the images, the content all floating over my desk. And, I always enjoy it, to be honest. I always enjoy it. It's crazy because you have to be very careful. You want to make that beautiful magazine again. But it's such a great feeling to see all these brands on our table. There are a lot of brands who likes to have interviews or likes to have promotional jobs. And, I enjoy it. And at the end, that beautiful magazine is there. And, it's like, well, I don't want to say having a baby. I know what that is. So no, that's not the same, but it's making a product together, having that energy, that connection with each other. And then at the end, this beautiful product on my table. Love it. I really love it. So what else are we working on? We are actually also very busy with something called a trade mission. As you know, we, work with a lot of events all over the world. And, some of the events actually are partners of us. And what we are doing is bringing exhibitors to their events. And we have some very impressive names. We work with Design Shanghai. We work with International Boat Show Dubai. We work with Salon Nautic International Boat Show in Barcelona. And we are now actually in Buenos Aires. And what we're trying to do is, make some trade missions. So we have people helping people to get on that event. Not only that, but also get to know the, country better, prepare themselves to be on that market. It's like a whole new challenge for a lot of brands to see what kind of opportunity that country brings. I will definitely have another podcast about that topic. It's called Trade Missions, so keep your eye open. And yes, we will definitely come back with that. In the meantime, I also want to say for most of our partners, for our events, we will have tickets for the listeners to go there for free. So, we're gonna share all these tickets with you. So if you want to have free tickets to get to the most beautiful luxury events around the world, then sign up for our newsletter, and we give you the opportunity to get some free tickets. Now, the following, as I promised, let me tell you about our media job we had in Sweden. We were invited in our media team for ZEEKR Europe. Have to say, the name ZEEKR is maybe not ringing a bell for a lot of people, but it's a amazing brand. It's in automotive. It's the new luxury EV brand introduction on the European market. And we were the lucky ones flying into Sweden, being on that media team. We could make a test drive. We not only saw the car, but we also saw the design center, the R&D center, and it was a great event, because you get not only to know the car, but you also get to know the family. And I say family because what I've had the feeling with specific, this company, that they are really enjoying working together, that they are, bring something to the table that gives you that good feeling. And I had that feeling all these days while I was looking, at the company, get to know the people working there, try out the car. I was one of the lucky ones. Yes, I'm, definitely. I also had all the opportunity to make good content, having the images. So you will see a lot of this ZEEKR adventure we had. Now, what I like to tell you about the interview I had with Spiros Fotinos. He, as I said, he is the manager of ZEEKR Europe, and his bio is quite interesting. So he's a Greek Canadian and, worked for many years in automotive industry. He has lived and worked in North America, Europe, Asia. He has a degree in political and organizational science as well as an MBA. Now, he have a background of 24 years of Toyota, and he held several key leaderships there, including head of Lexus Europe. And so he had to oversee all aspects of the brand's operation in 40 countries. That's amazing. He also is global head of brand management and marketing, and he's leading the development and deployment of Luxus brand strategy, metrics, and research. It's amazing that that's all done with one person. Well, that's not even all of it. He has also a complete track record with several awards, including a Rising Star from Automotive News Europe. And he also serves as a mentor and coach from the MIT Enterprise Forum, which supports promising startups. He's also a board advisor to startups. And he's a mentor for USA Marketing Academy. And he was recognized by the Wall Street Journal as one of the world's most influential CMOs in 2017, 2018, and 2019. And he is recognized for that by the Wall Street Journal. Well, that's quite a bio, right? And also what I think is very special in this, because if you have that kind of track record, you have so many different roles, not only as a leader, but also as somebody who knows something about car industry. So you need a lot of knowledge. So what you need is the right package of knowledge, skills, and attitude. And I think that makes Spiros quite an interesting guest on my podcast today. So I'm going to the studio in Sweden with you and give you all the time to listen to our interview. Hello everybody, this is Bernadette. I promised you an interview. I'm here in Sweden and I'm in a great studio. And we are going to talk today about ZEEKR. And I'm one, EuropeanLife is actually invited in the media team, and I cannot even tell you how proud I am about that. But in this interview, I have the time, and I'm very honored to talk to Spiros Fotinos, who is the CEO of ZEEKR Europe. Hi, Spiros.
Hey, good to be with you.
How are you doing?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm very impressed with the whole thing. I'm here now for 3 days, and I've seen the R&D team, the design. The ZEEKR is a new car on the European market.
Yep.
And I just, in my introduction, I told you about you. I mean, not only you have an impressive list of what you did, in your business life, you are awarded in many leadership positions. You are recognized by Wall Street. You are a mentor, a coach. So you have like the whole package, right? Okay. And just to make it even complete, I have to tell you, Spiros also plays ice hockey, is a DJ, rides his motorcycle, and cooks. So that's like the whole package to me. So you are the right man on the right place on the right time, probably. I would like to tell you a little bit more about ZEEKR. ZEEKR 01, yep. To be complete. it's a Chinese brand going on the European market. So maybe you can tell a little bit more about that brand.
Sure. So ZEEKR is we can say the newest brand from Geely Group, and Geely Group is the company that owns Volvo, Polestar, Lynk & Co, Lotus, for example, has an important stake in Mercedes-Benz, 50% of Smart. So it's the largest privately owned automaker in China. So quite a diverse company, and the birth of ZEEKR, in fact, which only happened a little more than 2 years ago, was to create from scratch a purely focused EV company that would really look at the intelligent electrified mobility part of the market, right? So focusing, if you look at our portfolio of brands, Volvo, of course, a historic brand, Lotus, a historic brand, Polestar, very much design-oriented, Lynk & Co, very much about the ownership proposition, and ZEEKR now very much focused on the high-tech, intelligent, electrified mobility.
Right. That's quite a challenge, though. I mean, it's first of all, electric car, and then it's a new brand on the European market. Yeah. You are going to launch it starting in Sweden, where we are now today, and the Netherlands, right?
Yeah.
I did see a lot about the car lately, and I had the feeling that it's not a typical Chinese car. I had the feeling that it's like a global car. It's a great fit in our European market, and so I think that the car has a lot of signs of a very big brand. It's in the luxury segment, right? It's more for the business, but that's like also our target group. So I like to talk to you a lot about our users. Yep. So one of the main part that our users ask us when I did sort of a questionnaire for our readers and listeners is the battery. Mm-hmm. So they all like, okay, the battery, how long does it last? You know, what does it cost, etc., etc. Can you tell me a little bit about it? Because I thought it was standing out in comparing with a lot of other brands, that battery. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so, there's a lot of anxiety around batteries, particularly with first-time EV buyers or EV considerers, for example, because, of course, it's an important part of the vehicle. In our case, we use, the batteries that we use are, very advanced technology. In the European batteries are from CATL, which is one of the world's biggest battery manufacturers. These batteries are tested, way beyond the required protocol. So we push the limits to make sure that the batteries, in various type of working conditions, that the batteries are performing in top condition. The other thing, of course, in our case, we offer a standard 8-year, 200,000 kilometer battery warranty. So there's no issue, peace of mind for the first 8 years. I think the more important thing, if we look at batteries in general, not only ZEEKR, but let's say the industry, particularly the more kind of advanced brands, I would say, is that what research has shown is that the battery, what we call degradation, how much life is the battery losing every year, actually is approximately 1%.
Okay.
Right? This is what studies are showing. So that means that after 10 years, your battery is still at 90% of what it was when you originally bought it. The only factor that plays a role there is how much, that you can charge your car at home on a wall box, for example, or potentially you could fast charge it or ultra fast charge it at a fast charging network like Fastned, for example, in the Netherlands. So the more you do that, the more impact that might have on the battery longer term if you were only fast charging. But most people, the vast majority of people, usually will charge at home or at the office, which is AC charging. It's slower, so it's better for the battery. And from time to time on a road trip, they'll do fast charging, which is not a problem at all. Right.
So even, Europe, I think there are more EVs in the north of Europe. They're always kind of fast. But I am a Dutch, so I know, but I live in the south, and there is definitely different difference between uses of EVs in the south or in the north, especially also, that's even a concern, I think, if it's like the battery charges. So the people in the south might even be more afraid to buy an EV because of the lack of charges in the countries. Do you think like there's some sort of development going faster in charging opportunities in Europe, or do you know about that? Or?
Yeah, there's a lot of investment that's happening in the charging infrastructure across Europe, right?
Okay.
Certainly in the more advanced countries, but also in the less advanced countries. And what you tend to see is that you see it primarily on let's say 3 dimensions. The first is what you'll typically see is fast charging stations along major highway routes. This is the typical first thing that you'll tend to see. The second thing is that you'll start seeing chargers, and initially it might not be a lot in the less developed EV markets, but you'll start to see 1, 2, 3 chargers in public parking areas. You'll start seeing them in shopping malls, for example, in public places
kind of
like
parking
this.
Places.
Parking
They're
places.
always,
So that's kind of happening. And the third one is established infrastructures like gas stations, for example, who have both the locations, in terms of infrastructure and the real estate, obviously, because they're already there. They'll start putting in chargers progressively, like Shell has made, huge investments in the charging network. So that, that will develop continuously over time, and everything that we've seen in terms of investment intentions shows that the charging infrastructure will grow to match the required.
Well, with their worries about the battery charging and also going from country to country in vacation and for private use, they also came with the next question, and I love it, to be honest. Could it pull my caravan? It's such a practical, down-to-earth question, probably from a Dutch person. But could it pull my caravan? I thought, that's a good
Absolutely,
question.
and I think, can an EV pull a caravan? Not always would be my answer. If you look at the EVs that are out there right now, you'd be surprised that either they can't or they can pull very little. I'm in the very fortunate position to say that for our cars, the 2 that we're launching in Europe, the 001 and the ZEEKR X, for the 001, it has a towing capacity of 2 tons, so 2,000 kilograms. And for the ZEEKR X, so the smaller urban SUV, 1.6 tons towing capacity. So I think it'll cover the vast majority of caravan towing requirements, I would say.
Okay, that put my mind to ease. That's good to know. Well, this is the private use of the car, right? But a lot of our listeners are entrepreneurs, are actually entrepreneurs which are, I wouldn't say they call them nomad, but like to work in different countries, are on the road a lot of time, work remotely. So for them it's also very important that car should be a sort of space where they can work. And I wonder, is there in the design of a ZEEKR 01, I think that's the best car for it.
001.
001. Oh my goodness, I have so much to learn today. So 001. Can you tell a little bit about the possibilities as a businessman to work in that car?
Sure. I think it depends, and when you talk to business people, and depends on the use case. Obviously, they're either sitting in the front or they're sitting in the back, right? It's one of the 2 scenarios. So I would say if they're sitting in the back, let's start from the back. The fact that both of our cars that we're launching now have more than ample legroom. So pulling out a laptop, working, seating is very comfortable. You can define the separate conditions of the rear zone, for example, in terms of lighting or temperature and so on, to create an environment that where you need to work. Right. And we've seen in research, for example, when people are working, they tend to like that environment a little bit cooler. So you can arrange that, of course, accordingly. If you're in the front seat, one of the interesting things is that our software, let's say the infotainment that people will understand it as, is our own proprietary software, right? Which means that we're able to offer a wide range of features and applications for our customers. So, for example, different types of video and audio streaming, conferencing, different kinds of apps that I think for both private and business users, they'll be able to have a more efficient and effective use of the vehicle.
Right.
The other important thing is that because it's our own software stack, we can listen to our customers. What are their needs? What are the kinds of services, for examples, or extensions that they need to be more productive? And that's something that we can develop very, very quickly.
Yeah. Do you think it's also spacious enough for, especially in the north, for the men who are higher or taller than 2 meters? They are a lot, and with the long legs, and I can imagine that they want to be comfortable, and so that's no problem in the car.
Yeah, it was funny because we had, as you know, we've had over the last 10 days or so, we've had many waves of journalists coming from different countries.
Yes.
And there was one journalist from the Netherlands, a rather tall guy, as you'd expect, and when they got to kind of experience the vehicles, he said to me, "Now I'm going to do the Dutch test." And I said, "I'm not sure what that is, but please feel free."
Yeah.
So he sat in the driver's seat. He fixed the chair accordingly for him, and he was 2 meters something, I think.
Yeah, 2 meters.
So he sat in the driver's seat. He said, "I like it because I still have clearance for my head."
Right. Right.
So I feel very comfortable. He leaves the seat like that, and he gets out and he sits in the back seat.
Right.
Right. And he said, I can't believe it. I can't believe that I actually fit in an urban SUV.
That is amazing.
In the rear.
Yeah.
And in fact, he said, and he sat in every seat, he said, "I don't believe it. I can fit 5 of me in this car."
Wow.
Right? So that was really cool.
I'm a tall person myself, so I'm, the legs, space is always very important. I actually came here with a plane and demanding extra leg seats. So, we have to think about. So, okay, I think we have a quite clear picture. I have to say that I saw the design of this car, and to be honest, I always see this business. We work with a lot of brands, and I see also the new design on the markets, UVs, and I felt that a lot of the design are still like a traditional businessman kind of cars.
Yeah.
And when the ZEEKR 001 drove out yesterday, and I was like, wow, it's something new. I was really surprised. Yeah. It looked young, but big and very luxurious. So for every listener out there, you should check it out. We're going to have the next weeks to give you a lot of images, got a lot of videos, and we hope to get you all on board, and you should go to your dealer, wherever that is, to see if you can have that test drive as well. It's all worth it. So now the also very Dutch. What's the price? That's always one of the questions our people asking. So can you give me a little bit? I mean, I don't write it in stone, but more or less.
I can give you precisely the price.
Okay, right? Very good. We like that.
So if we take the ZEEKR X, which is the urban SUV, before I jump on the price, just one point that you talked about design. You have to remember that, yes, although we're of Chinese origin, let's say, all the design work is done in Gothenburg, in Sweden. All the design work, right? And a lot of the engineering work. In fact, we have 900 engineers here working on ZEEKR.
Wow, yeah.
In the European R&D Center, and 400 designers. So the car that you're experiencing is not the Chinese version of the car. It's the European version of the car.
Right.
And we're the only brand of Chinese origin that really does that. Even the seat shape and comfort have been adjusted for European taste. So it's not the same seat as China, right?
Yeah, because I can imagine that there are people out there who think that because it's from China, it's far away, and it's always have this little blur around the name China, that they think that might give some problems.
We're truly a global brand. We're not a Chinese export company. Not by a long shot.
No, I think also the design, it's a very global design. It's I really like it.
So prices.
Yeah, tell me.
So for the ZEEKR X, which is the smaller of the two, smaller but still 4.45 meters, so substantial. It comes in two versions, a rear-wheel drive version and what we call the all-wheel drive performance version. So on the rear-wheel drive version, you get a very well-equipped car, very high-quality vehicle. Prices in the Netherlands are at 44,990. I have to double check, but let's say 45,000 roughly.
Okay.
Start at 45,000 for a car that is incredibly well equipped.
Yeah.
And for the high spec performance version, and to give you an idea, that's an advanced all-wheel drive system plus the performance package included. So 0 to 100 in 3.8 seconds.
Right.
And that car comes at 49,000.
Wow, right. That's amazing. That's a good price.
Yeah, it's an exceptional price. For what you're getting, and the same applies to the 001, where we have three versions. We have a rear-wheel drive long-range version, which starts at 59,000 in the Netherlands,
right?
59 something in the Netherlands, and is already very well equipped, super high-quality vehicle. Then you get the all-wheel drive performance version, so you can get the all-wheel drive system, the intelligent all-wheel drive system, the performance package included, and a list of additional features, and that comes in at about 64.
That's
and
good,
then
yeah.
And then the high spec version, which includes effectively everything, comes in at about 68.
Wow. So you're telling us that, as I told you, it's launched on the Dutch market, in the Netherlands and in Sweden, and there are the first shops, the presentation shops are in Amsterdam, right?
So we've got in the Netherlands, we're starting with a flagship store, and the flagship store in the Netherlands is the old V&D building, so on Kalverstraat.
That's like an emotional building for most of the Dutch.
It is, and you know when we
historical.
When we took it, it's with a lot of respect, right? That we said, we said our intention is not just let's build a car dealership here, not at all.
No.
So of course we need to show our vehicles and talk about who we are and so on, but one of the main roles of that store also will be to engage the local community,
right,
to start building awareness and knowledge around sustainable mobility.
Yeah.
So for example, can we get the schools to come in and we can talk to them, how does an electric car work, for example, or how do batteries work, or these kind of thing. Amsterdam University is across the Rokin Canal. It's right in front of us. So we want to build these types of collaborations, that it's not just the dealership, it's giving back to the community as well, right?
That sounds really nice. I think everybody should just go there for a visit, just to
I hope so.
have the feeling. Of course they will. They have the
so.
feeling of the building. Not only that, but you have to see these new cars.
And we're happy to to contribute to that area. That it was, I've passed by that building many times, and it was a pity to see it empty like that.
I know,
because I remember it as the old V&D building from 10 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Years ago, right? Even I've even shopped there. I remember.
Me too. I was, this is kind of a Dutch talk, but the V&D has like the school campus, which is like a campus where you can buy your new stuff. Everybody goes there. That was the joy of the year. You can have your new
school stuff.
Yeah, you go there. You have
Cool.
it's so much fun. Okay, well, I want to thank you for your time and the whole story. I want to ask all listeners to check it out.
ZEEKR.nl if they're Dutch.
ZEEKR.1?
ZEEKR.nl.
NL. Okay.
.nl.
So I can say it in Dutch. ZEEKR.nl, no?
Yeah.
ZEEKR.nl.
And you have to remember that ZEEKR is ZEEKR.
Yeah. Well, we are with this podcast. We will have images. We will have the logo. We will definitely give you all the addresses on internet. So don't worry. They will find you.
Right.
Well, thank you again. First of all, not only to have this interview with me, but also to inviting us to be part of the media team.
We thank you for joining. I mean, it's our pleasure to have you guys here. Absolutely.
Well, you will hear more about ZEEKR from EuropeanLife Media, and of course, I hope you will go to this podcast. We'll be live next week, and for now, we're going back to the studio for the rest of this podcast. Hey everybody, we are back in Barcelona. And I hope you enjoyed the interview. I did anyway. And in my head, I was a little bit back in Sweden, enjoying these days of this event. And I hope you agree with me that, it's a special story we are listening to. Now, I wanted to go back to you because I also wanted to tell you about my test drive, which I had after that interview. And it was a very special experience. First of all, you agree with me that we are talking about a high-quality car. This is something else. And the whole design of this car is definitely different than the cars we know on manager's level. To be honest, I think they are, I don't know, I don't want to say they're all the same or they are boring, but well, maybe I want to say that. But anyway, I think this car stand out in design, stand out in quality. Well, why is it standing out in design? I thought the whole design, the wheels, for example, are very modern, a little bit more hip, sportive, and still having that manager look. So there are details in the car I really enjoyed. They have the whole dashboard was of course kind of black, but then there is this red metal stripe going all over some details, and that makes it really refined, like having that, giving you that luxury feeling. That's very, very different. It's you have to go to a dealer to see this. Now, I want to tell you also that, as you know, I'm a Dutch, and the Dutch are very tall. So I was determined to see if not only my legs fit in, but do remember that some of the Dutch people, especially the guys, could be 2 meters or even taller, and so they need their space to sit comfortable. So we tried it out. I tried it out for you guys, and yes, you fit in. Believe me, not only on the front but even on the back, which is amazing to me. And there were a lot of cars out there we really didn't fit in. So yeah, that's a plus for me. So with that luxury feeling, I was driving this car, and I have to say that I was really amazed. I didn't go in that car very comfortable because I thought, oh my goodness, am I messing up this new car today or not? But it was a great experience. I was really enjoying it, every minute of it, and it was much more easy than I thought. Now, to see the design on the inside, to have that same feeling, to know that this is a very comfortable way of driving, especially in countries where it's very busy. All these managers going to work every day, being in traffic all the time, you really like to be comfortable, and this is the car for you. So, but to see it, to feel it, you have to go to your dealer. So I like to inspire you to go there and test it out yourself. So it's almost impossible for me to give you that feeling what I had when I was in this car. And so you really should go to the dealer. There was a dealer shop in Amsterdam and in Sweden. Go there and see if you can find to get a test drive and enjoy it as much as I did. Now I have to say I had some little bit of issues before I got in. I thought, how difficult could it be? It's all different than my old Ford I have. There is this big touchscreen in front of you, and I was kind of nervous, but nothing like that. Really, it was an eye-opener. It's so simple. It's an automatic. Feel like an automatic. You have just 2 pedals, and there you go, and it's no sound at all. And that was actually so much more relaxed than I really thought it would be. I was amazed. I think if you're driving this electric car and it's so quiet, you will probably be less aggressive in traffic. I was kind of peaceful because it's flying over your streets, and it makes you feel very comfortable. Now about the touch screen, that was something else. I thought that's very complicated because there are so many possibilities and so many things I can do with on the screen. But to be honest, I had a map in front of me, and by the time I was just touching the screen, doing something wrong, and everything was gone while I was driving, I got nervous. But you know what? I could just ask the assistant in the car, my digital assistant, and say, hey, you know what, can you drive me home? And see, and plop, there was the map again. And with the help of my digital assistant, I find my way back, and I was more relaxed than I ever was. So here you go. I think that covers it. You should go to your ZEEKR dealer, try it out, and I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I want to thank the whole team of ZEEKR Europe for our trip to Sweden. I hope to see more of them. I hope to collaborate with them. I hope all of you listeners to give you more information and give you definitely more inspiration to go see your ZEEKR dealer. And I hope to talk to you soon. For now, I wish you all a great week ahead, and I hope to talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you for listening today. Please subscribe and share this podcast. Do you have a question or a story to share? Please find us at podcast@EuropeanLifeMedia.com.